Today is March 26th, 2024. My name is Jo Reingold, and I'm here interviewing Carolyn Wilkov. Hello, Carolyn. Thank you for coming.
Hello, Jo. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, Carolyn, tell us about your recent trip to Israel. What kind of things you did and saw and what you got involved in.
Recent trip, firstly, I can describe why I went, if that is something
Sure.
that I should share. I think that after October the 7th, I probably, like most Jewish people in the diaspora, was just completely shattered, I think, by the whole experience. And all I really wanted to do was be there. And when the mission came up through Dallas Federation, there was no question for me. It was the only place I wanted to be. It was the only thing I wanted to do. And that was really it for me from that perspective. And remind me what the other question was, please.
Well, just in general, tell us about the trip, some of the highlights, some of the things that really had an impact with you.
Sure. Okay. So the trip, as I'm sure you've heard from others, was intense, was incredible. I think that I learned a lot about people, and even myself for that matter. But there was a conception for me about the Israelis, I think, often as being just so kind of brash and getting on with it, etc. But I found a very different Israel from the times that I had seen before. So I found Israel to be a very sad country. And I think that there was a lot of empathy that I felt, as well as sympathy, I suppose, but I would say it was more empathy. And truly all I wanted to do was hug everybody and just show that we were there to support for no other reason, in coming. And there was just an extreme amount of gratitude, which was really quite incredible. And they were also grateful to have us there to share. I think that in sharing there's also a lot of healing. So I think that was a part of it. It was great to travel with a group of people, most of whom I had never met, who were just as passionate as I was or am, and also, just very like-minded. So there were a lot of personalities to meet, and it's really been incredible to see how the group has really stayed so well bonded and been so connected since we've also come back, because we have a WhatsApp group and we are always communicating on that. So it's very heartwarming to see that. But as far as Israel was concerned, I think it was jam-packed. I think the most impactful day for me was the day we went to the south, and I think that no matter what you expect or what you think you're going to see, or the photos and the videos that you've seen, you just cannot possibly imagine it when it's in front of you. And it really, it did. I mean, it made me physically shudder, and I think I was very emotional, obviously, but just so overwhelmed. And I've spoken to others who have asked me, how it was, so to speak, and I truly couldn't find any words in the first couple of weeks or the day of. We were encouraged to write in a journal, but I really couldn't find the words. And it comes slowly, I think, as you begin to process, but to stand and to see the devastation and the cruelty and the wanton violence that is just really incomprehensible, still to this day for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people. It's probably the most, impactful, if I can put it that way, when we went to see the kibbutz Kfar Aza. I was just thinking of all the kids running around and people going about their, starting to wake up and get ready for Shabbat and Simchas Torah, never possibly imagining that this could happen in the world and never to them. So I think that was something that I think will haunt me for the rest of my life, and it was really a harrowing experience from that perspective.
How did the Federation here decide to adopt Kibbutz Zikim, and what do you think will come of that?
I have every confidence that it's going to be the 3-year commitment that Federation has committed to. I've been part of the partnership program with the Federation since 2018, which was after we went on the March of the Living and were introduced to the Western Galilee. I didn't even know that it existed, quite honestly. So I fell in love with the region and the people and the whole process of what happens with the partnership program, and became involved with that when we got back. So I've seen firsthand, I think, what can be done, and with a good team especially, and I think there's a great team now at Federation. I think that there are a lot of committed people. I really do believe that it's going to be a huge success, and it works on both sides. It's from the Dallas perspective and the Zikim perspective and the team in Israel. So I think it's going to be a great success. And when we met the people at Zikim, there was just such gratitude and so much excitement, and just the connection, I think, that meant the world to them, and I think that stays with you. And I would very much like to be a part of that process when it eventually gets going. So how it got chosen, I'm not sure, other than I know that Dallas was the first volunteer to get into the program. So I'm not sure what the actual decision was to partner with Zikim was, as opposed to others.
I know that we have led the way, and now I was told there's about 20 different partnerships going on, which is wonderful. It's really spread around.
That's the one thing that has been so incredible to see. Yes, we're fighting anti-Semitism. Yes, there's so much hate all around us, but it tends to be that which pops up on all the media, social media, etc., is all the bad stuff. I don't think they show enough of the good, and there is not as much as we would like, perhaps, but there is a lot. And the Jewish people all over the world, they came together in a way that I had never seen, and it was really a beautiful thing to see. I mean, there has been so much passion and support and love for Israel, that and just standing together, the solidarity with the people of Israel. So it's been really amazing to see that aspect of it.
Can you think of anything else? You've said some of the things already that the Dallas community can do, and what your fellow participants can do to spread the word about Israel.
Well, I think that we've just got to keep on doing what we're doing. I think that we've got to ignore the noise out there, of anybody saying negative things. I think that I can only speak for myself, really, from this perspective. I became much more active on social media with regard to putting out as many posts as I could, reposting from bring them home now, all that sort of thing. So I wish I had a bigger base, but sometimes it's preaching to the choir, but it's okay. I think that awareness is huge. I think that telling the story from our perspective of having been there is huge. For anybody whom I've encountered saying that they're nervous to go or they're thinking about it, I really try to encourage them to visit as soon as they can, not to hesitate, that I personally felt safer there than I have in any other part of the world, and I guess that's a trust in the IDF. So that's really my perspective right now as to our participants. I think that, you know, everybody felt the same. There are some great leaders of the community who are with us, so I'm sure that they're doing their bit too, you know, in trying to get the word out and to fight anti-Semitism and just tell some positive things, you know, because it's not always about the death and the destruction. It's some really magical stories out there too.
Again, you've touched on it, but I'm just curious if you can think of something particularly that can be done with all of the misinformation that's out there.
Oh, I wish I had a magic wand, you know, to just put it all over the world. But I think that one has to be, I don't want to say gentle, but I can't think of any other word at this particular moment. If we witness something or see something at every opportunity, to just be able to say something, to not be afraid, to stand up and to have a voice at any opportunity, whether it's talking to a group of friends and asking them to pass it along, whether it's talking to business associates. I don't really like to be in anybody's face personally, but and I find that a lot of people just don't want to know, so I guess that's not so much the misinformation as just not caring, I suppose. But I wear my tag.
I was just going to ask you about that. Yes,
and often the little, you know, the little yellow bring them home, the ribbon.
Right.
And I've just seen my children who live in California and given them those as well. And I said, please wear it proudly. And I actually hoped somebody would ask me what it was when when you walk through the streets, etc. But I haven't found that at all. So, you know, you can't go up to someone and say, you know, I want to talk to you about Israel right now. But I think we can just keep on doing what we're doing, you know, in the best way we can, and for everybody not to forget what happened October 7th, not to forget that the hostages are not home, not to forget that Hamas has still got to be eradicated, that there's a lot of work to do in Gaza and the West Bank and de-radicalizing. So I've had people ask what they can do, actually. One lady in particular who is a therapist and asked if she could, you know, volunteer her services. So I think with every little thing, with every little step that we take and every small gesture or everything we can do, I think it's one step further than we were before. So
very good.
That's how I look at it.
Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts other than my own personal gratitude for having been able to be on this trip, to have brought awareness to the community. I think it was an incredible trip to have done, and I think the Federation is doing a really remarkable job. And I just hope and pray that we get our hostages home. That is probably top of mind for me, and I'm guessing everybody, to make sure that Hamas can no longer rear their ugly head in the territory. And not only to eradicate them, but as I said before, to just de-radicalize and teach, because without education and information we can never change anything. And I just hope that we can see that happen in the future. I just can never understand how the Gazans were taken into to Israeli hospitals, for example, by some of the people from the kibbutzim who drove them and their children to be treated, how they could turn around and give information to have them slaughtered. So I hope in time that changes, because there are those who must see that there's good in Israel, and I just hope that happens one day. That's my prayer anyway.
Thank you so much,
So,
Carol.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.